But you'd been doing exercise, you'd been eating properly, and
Exactly.
and didn't have a history or a major history of cancer, so this was real shock. You're in the bubble.
Right.
And did you ever go through, depression is what I'm going for. Did you have to fight depression?
In the early stages, I didn't, because they keep you so busy with your appointments, and like I said, it's almost like you're working 40 hours a week, because I was fighting to stay alive. And I was very blessed to be surrounded by my family. My parents stayed with me a lot, and I had an incredible church family that just wrapped their arms around me, and I could actually feel the prayers just wash over me when there was times I thought I would collapse to the floor and I wouldn't be able to walk because I was so sick, and they were giving me the most aggressive cancer as they could without killing me.
You really had an aggressive cancer.
I did. It was fast growing.
In 6 months you'd be gone, they said.
Right.
When you heard that phrase, this is what I'm getting to. When you heard the phrase, you got 6 months, how did that impact you in your thought process, in your faith?
I started planning my funeral. I started picking out Christian songs that I wanted played, and
what was one of them? You remember?
It is Down on My Knees, Bowed Out. It's Gaither. Right, I'm having chemo brain right now, so it'll come to me later.
It's going to get worse as you go
Michael
on.
English.
Okay.
Michael English sings it, and it's Down on My Knees, and he's saying he wants to see Jesus, and that was what I started trying to focus on, was I'm going home, and I want to see Jesus.
How would it be, I wonder, and you hear this, I hear you say this, and your great witness, your great faith, you going to see Jesus, wonder how much depression, how much hurt it must be for a person that doesn't believe.
I could not imagine.
That's got to be overwhelming.
To carry that burden, even as a Christian, it's a test of faith. It truly is. But that was the thing that I felt like I was in the grips of my Savior. That he had his lost sheep, not lost as far as my soul, but I was lost in this world of disease.
Yes.
And I knew that Christ was carrying me. So people would say, well, did you ever say why you, or are you angry? And I said, no. Jesus would be the last person that I would want to be angry at, because
that is so healthy.
Definitely. He was the one through people when I wasn't able to pray, and I would just say help. But there was a situation or a time that I had a dear lady, Judy Stanford. She had come to visit me one afternoon, and I told her, I said, Judy, I'm having a spiritual battle, and I said, I know that God can heal me from this. But I also know that God has given these doctors the wisdom and the knowledge to do what they can to get this cancer out of my body. So I was in a spiritual warfare of trying to make a decision. Do I stop the chemo drugs or not? And so she called me the next morning and she said, are you still having that battle? And I said, yes, I am. And so she never swayed one way or the other, and we got off the phone, and she said, well, right before we did, she said, there's someone I would like you to call, and he's at St. Thomas Hospital, and he works with people that are going through what you're going through. So we then hung up, and I went to call him, and he's a minister at St. Thomas, and the phone went completely dead. And I felt like God was reaching out to me saying, my daughter, you need to come to me. And that's exactly what I did. My hands went up in the air. I was filled with tears. And it was like, God, I need to know. I need confirmation from you to tell me, do I need to keep on doing the cancer drugs, which is adriamycin. It's called the red devil of all things. And I said, or do I need to leave this in your hands and believe that you're going to heal me? But I need you to speak to me and show me. And it felt like that room where I was sleeping, it felt like it was full of his angels. Mm-hmm. And I got really quiet, and I could hear the Lord speaking to me. And it was the Lord telling me that, yes, you've got to go down this journey. The journey's going to be dark. It's going to be long. It's going to be extremely difficult. But the good part is I'm going to be with you during this journey. And as soon as I heard that, it felt like the room just completely emptied out. The phone rang. And it was just another miracle.
That's one of those things that people don't believe. If they hadn't walked that road, they don't believe it, do they? They think you're wacko.
But that's okay. If I'm wacko, if I'm a Jesus freak, that's okay. I know what Jesus does. I know what God does in my life.
Spiritual can't be defined.
Exactly. It's a relationship. That's right. It is. Yes.
When you went through this, you went on back to the doctor and decided to go down this road. You lost your hair.
I did.
And you've got, well, I call them street do-rags, but you have another name.
Well, that's great for the Harley people. Yes.
How did you cope with there's folks watching this that at some point in time they're going to be where you're sitting.
Sadly enough,
and that's what I want to do.
Yes.
Because our struggle is we try to stay alive. But our real struggle is not to stay alive. Our struggle is sin. Because we're not going to get off this planet. We are going to go through death to go to be with the Lord, and we know that. But still, we have that nature to try to survive, stay alive.
Right.
So I want us to. They're going to learn some things from you because you had a great faith. Now, and I want us to talk about this emotion of you losing your hair, but I also want to talk about some other things that set this thing up. After you went through your treatments, your husband left you.
He did. Yes.
And now you're alone.
Yes.
Except for the church and God's people and family.
I'm very blessed. Yes.
But it's still, that's another strike. That was
exactly.
Now you've got a real excuse to go into depression.
Right.
But that didn't happen to you, evidently. You was able to carry you through. How'd you get through all that?
Well, my doctor, I was very blessed with because they said that he was not going to be taking any more breast cancer patients. That he would be working with lung cancer and. So I was blessed again with a doctor friend of mine that works with patients that have brain injuries, and so he was a surgeon, but he was retired, and he said, I want you to go and see this other surgeon. And I did, and she gave me the worst news ever. She said, you have three tumors, and it's also in your sentinel node. And so I had 17 lymph nodes removed along with a double mastectomy. And once I started the chemo drug, adriamycin, and it is the type I was taking was extremely aggressive, and I was very sick. And so as I was taking,
that sickness is 24 hours now. It's not just for an hour or two. But
were
sick for.
I was on 4 anti-nausea drugs, and I didn't actually physically get sick, but any just breathing, I thought, okay, I'm gonna be sick, and so I know I've probably just completely gotten off what you just asked me, but there's so much information about what you feel and the emotions.
You keep talking about this because that's going to help somebody.
So you're not prepared. The doctor told me, he said, Jade, you are facing so many critical things at this point. He said, you're on collapse at some time. And I thought, no, I'm not. I've got God on my side, and I have a healthy team around me, and I know that God's going to carry me through this. And it wasn't that God didn't, but I was still in that dark journey that God had told me about early on. And I just didn't know how long the journey was going to be and how difficult it was going to be. And actually, it didn't, the depression didn't come until about 2.5 years ago. And at that time, my oncologist had then been asked to leave Tennessee and come to go to Dallas and teach about how to find a cure for cancer, or to be able to find just designate that area instead of it affecting the entire body. And part of that was losing your hair. I lost over 20 pounds, and I just, once the depression started, I wasn't prepared for the depression because I was a very happy person, but going through a horrific divorce, losing my job, and losing my health, I was kind of like, wow, my cup is runneth over.
My cup's full, Lord. This time, Lord, you gave me a mountain. Yeah, I got it. Okay.